Can you trust your eyes? Reality itself is a trick. Your brain's playing games with you every single day. Get ready to have your mind bent as we count down the 9 astonishing illusions your brain plays on you daily. 9. Pareidolia. Ever seen a face in the clouds or a distinct image in spilled coffee? That's pareidolia. It's the psychological phenomenon where your brain perceives familiar patterns, especially faces, in random or ambiguous stimuli. Your brain is so incredibly good at detecting faces that it often finds them where they don't truly exist. This isn't a flaw, it's a fascinating byproduct of your brain's highly efficient pattern recognition system, as quickly identifying faces, even ambiguous ones, was crucial for survival. 8. The Motion Aftereffect, Waterfall Illusion. If you ever stare at a waterfall for a minute or two and then shift your gaze to the static rocks or trees beside it, you'll see them appear to drift slowly upwards. This peculiar and compelling phenomenon is known as the Motion Aftereffect. What's happening? The neurons in your visual cortex specifically responsible for detecting downward motion become fatigued and adapt to that continuous direction. When you then look at a stationary object, the rebound effect from these tired neurons causes you to perceive movement in the opposite direction, in this case, upwards, even though nothing is actually moving. It's a vivid demonstration of your brain's incredible, yet sometimes misleading, ability to adapt its perception of motion based on recent visual input. 7. Rotating snake's illusion. Now, let's talk about movement, or rather, the compelling illusion of it. Stare intently at this circular pattern of vibrant, swirling shapes. Do you notice it moving, perhaps slowly rotating or gently wiggling, even though it's a completely static image? You're not alone, and it's not an animated GIF. This fascinating illusion of motion in a still picture is often attributed to microsaccades, the tiny, involuntary jerks your eyes make, combined with how your peripheral vision processes highly contrasting patterns. Your brain is trying to make sense of these rapid, inconsistent signals it's receiving, and the result is a powerful, undeniable sensation of motion where, objectively, there is none. It's proof that even when you're perfectly still, your eyes are making subtle movements that your brain can misinterpret. 6. Chromatic Adaptation, the dress. Cast your mind back to 2015, to the internet-breaking phenomenon that was the dress. Was it undeniably blue and black, or unmistakably white and gold? This global debate highlighted a profound truth about our vision. This wasn't just a quirky argument, but a perfect, real-world demonstration of chromatic adaptation. Depending on what your brain subconsciously assumed about the ambient light source illuminating the dress, whether it was natural daylight or artificial yellow light, it would subtract different color casts. If your brain decided the light was yellowish, it would subtract the yellow, making the dress appear blue and black. If it assumed bluish light, it would subtract the blue, making it appear white and gold. It's a vivid reminder that your brain is constantly making complex, unseen decisions about how to filter light and perceive true color, often leading to vastly different realities for different people. 5. The checker shadow illusion, Adelson. Prepare for a truly astonishing example of how your brain manipulates what you see when it comes to color and brightness. Look at this image of a chessboard, with a cylinder casting a distinct shadow across it. Now, focus intently on square A and square B. Square A appears clearly darker than B, doesn't it? It seems undeniable. But here's the reveal, they are the exact same shade of gray. Your brain is performing an incredible, automatic calculation. It understands the presence of the shadow and automatically compensates for it, telling you that square B must be inherently lighter because it's in shadow. If it looked the same shade as A, it would have to be an incredibly dark square to begin with. This powerful illusion exposes how your brain constantly adjusts for lighting conditions to determine the true color of objects, often overriding the raw visual data it receives. 4. The Ponzo Illusion. Imagine a set of converging parallel lines, like railroad tracks disappearing into the distance. Now, place two identical horizontal lines across these tracks, one near the bottom of the converging lines and one near the top. Which of the horizontal lines appears longer? Almost instinctively, the line placed higher up, where the parallel lines appear to converge, looks significantly longer. However, just like in the Müller-Lyer, both lines are precisely the same length. This is the Ponzo illusion, and it highlights how our brain relies heavily on linear perspective cues. We subconsciously interpret the converging lines as representing distance, and therefore, an object that covers the same amount of visual space at a further distance must logically be larger. Your brain is trying to help you by accounting for perspective, but in this flat image, it leads to a fascinating distortion of reality. 3. The Müller-Lyer Illusion. Next up, we encounter the infamous Müller-Lyer illusion, a visual riddle that has puzzled minds for over a century. You're presented with two horizontal lines. One has arrowheads pointing inward at its ends, like a closed angle, while the other boasts arrowheads pointing outward, like an open V-shape. Which line, to your eyes, seems longer? Most people will confidently point to the line with outward pointing arrows. Yet, the astounding truth is that both lines are exactly the same length. This persistent trick of perception is widely believed to stem from our everyday experiences with architectural corners and depth. Your brain interprets the inward pointing arrows as a corner coming towards you, making the line seem closer and thus potentially shorter. Conversely, the outward pointing arrows suggest a corner going away from you, making the line seem further and thus longer. It's your brain trying to apply three-dimensional reasoning to a two-dimensional image, and getting delightfully tricked in the process. 2. The Ebbinghaus Illusion, Titchener Circles. Now, consider two orange circles, placed side by side. One is surrounded by a ring of much larger circles, while the other is snugly enveloped by tiny ones. At first glance, which one appears bigger? The vast majority of people, without hesitation, will tell you the circle surrounded by the small ones is significantly larger. But here's the mind-bending truth: both orange circles are, in fact, precisely the same size. This isn't a fault in your eyesight, it's your brain being fooled by relative perception. Your mind is so heavily influenced by the surrounding context that it literally distorts your perception of size. It's like your brain can't ignore the peer pressure from other shapes, showing us how our perception of an object's scale is never truly isolated. 1. The Kanizsa Triangle. Let's kick things off by seeing how your brain is a surprisingly eager artist. You're looking at what appears to be a perfectly formed, stark white triangle, prominently displayed in the very center of your screen. It feels incredibly real, right? But pause for a moment and look closer. You'll quickly realize that no actual lines, no physical boundaries, define its edges. This isn't a trick of light on the screen, it's your brain's incredible cognitive leap. It actively creates that triangle, perceiving implied lines and contours where none physically exist, all in an effort to find logical patterns and make coherent sense of the fragmented Pac-Man-like shapes around it. It's a powerful demonstration of how your brain constantly tries to impose order on chaos, even manufacturing reality to do so. So, why do these illusions matter? They're more than just cool tricks. They reveal profound truths about how your brain actively constructs the reality you experience. Your brain is a powerful problem solver, constantly filtering and interpreting information. Did any of these genuinely blow your mind? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating insights. Thanks for watching.